So we are looking at the 17th verse. Vijita sahasrakaraika 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 nute krita surataraka sangarataraka sangarataraka sunusute suratha samadhi samana samadhi 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 sujatarate jaya jaya he mahishasuramardini ramyakapardini shailasute Vijita sahasrakaraika 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 nute Kruta surataraka sangarataraka sangarataraka sunusute Suratha samadhi samana samadhi 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 sujatarate Jaya jaya he mahishasuramardini Ramyakapardini Shailasute. Okay. So this particular verse, the focus is on two things. One is the killing of the Asura. Thank you. Killing of the Asuras and offering boons. Okay. So Devi is killing the Tarakasura and then she is offering boons to Suratha and Samadhi. It's two people. So what is the story behind this? So first line goes Vijita sahasrakaraika 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 nute. So Vijita, which means she wins over the 1,000 enemies. She wins over 1,000 enemies with her 1,000 arms. So Devi herself has 1,000 arms. Okay. So she has Sahasra Kara. So with Sahasra Kara, she is vanquishing or winning over Vijita, winning over thousands of enemies. And they are bowing down. So thousands of people or thousands of enemies or thousands of people in the battlefield are bowing down Sahasra Karaika Nute. Nute means to bow down or to praise her. So she is using 1,000 hands to win over 1,000 enemies and then they bow down to her in surrender. This is what the first line means. Sahasra, Sahasra, Sahasra. Three Sahasra. There are 3,000. Comes there as a number. 3,000. And then, so these are, she is killing all the enemies. Now then there is a special enemy or a special, I don't want to say an enemy, right? A special Asura. Who's Tarakasura. So now she is vanquishing Tarakasura through who? Through her son Kartikeya. Recently, Sura Samharam happened, I think about a month ago or a few weeks ago. There is in Madurai, I think, right? Meera would know. In Madurai, they have this this whole Sura Samharam played out in the
Tiruchendur.
Tiruchendur, sorry, yeah, Tiruchendur.
Tiruchendur Sikkil Singara Velanappu romba arumaiya pannava. Sikkil Singara Velanappu.
We actually saw that it was played in television. It was released on television. Television, I mean, on YouTube. They showed it live. So how the various forms or various different weapons are used against Tarakasura, and finally Tarakasura gets vanquished. So who creates this Kartikeya, who vanquishes Tarakasura? It's created by Devi. Right? Created by Devi means it is because of Devi's Shakti from Shiva's third eye. The Shakti comes out. So Shiva's third eye, Shakti comes out and forms six different forms. And they are given to six different Kritika ladies or Kannis or young women. And then after they bring them up to a certain age, then they bring those six children or babies together. And he becomes one. Shanmukha. So Shanmukha is one with six faces. So one of the reasons he is created or born is also because of the boon that Shiva has given to Tarakasura. So there is a boon that is given to Tarakasura saying that only the son of Shiva can kill you. And at that time, as much as Tarakasura knew that Shiva was an ascetic, he was not married, he was an ascetic, and he was living the life of a recluse in the cremation grounds with his Ganas, Shiva Ganas. He was living there, right? And he was meditating all the time. So there's in no circumstance, Tarakasura thought that this man will ever have a child. So if at all somebody has got to kill me, because when the boon was asked of Brahma, he asked immortality, and he said, no, immortality is something that I cannot give because I myself am mortal. Brahma himself is mortal. There is a time span, right? Even for Brahma, the Brahma changes after several millions of years. It's a very long period of time, but yet he still changes. So even the Brahma is not immortal in that sense. So as I myself am not immortal, so I cannot give you the boon of immortality. So he asks me something else. He says, okay, then give me a boon that only the son of Shiva will kill me. Knowing that Shiva is a recluse, an ascetic, living in the cremation grounds, obviously nobody will want to marry him and bear a child with him, right? So then the story is that then there is Parvati who is meditating upon Shiva, and the Devatas come together and get them married, and then the child is born. So the story of Kartikeya goes like that, and he is what? Surataraka. Surataraka means Krita Surataraka. So she creates the one who's the protector of the Suras. Taraka is also one who protects or guides or tarati. Yaha tarati saha tarakaha. Tara Devi. She's called Tara Devi because she helps you to cross over, whatever. To cross over from one situation to another, to get over the difficulties, to cross over obstacles, to find a path. Taraka. So the one who takes you across. Once you takes you across the ocean, the lake, the river, whatever. So there is an obstacle you're not able to get across, the one who takes you over. So he was Surataraka. He was one who took the Devatas from the fear of this demon Tarakasura to safety by vanquishing the Tarakasura demon. So who created him? Kritasura Taraka. Devi created him. Krita, she made this Surataraka. Who is Surataraka? Kartikeya. What did he do? Sangarataraka, Sunu Sute. Sunu Sute means she urged this son of hers to kill the Samhara Taraka. So now the Taraka that is used here is the Tarakasura. First Taraka is the reference to Kartikeya himself. He is Surataraka. So she creates Krita Surataraka for what? Samhara Taraka. To go and do Samhara of Tarakasura. And Sunu Sute, which means she urges her son. Sute is son, Suta is son. She urges the son to do Samhara Taraka, to kill the or vanquish Tarakasura. So the first line is Devi is vanquishing all the demons and all the asuras, and they are with her 1,000 hands. She is vanquishing thousands of them. She's vanquishing thousands of them, and they in thousands they come and prostrate in front of her. Sahasraika Nute. And then she also creates her son Tarakasura to go and vanquish, creates her son Kartikeya to vanquish Tarakasura. She could have gone and tried to kill Tarakasura, but that wouldn't have worked because he has the boon that only the son of Shiva can kill. So even if she tried that way, it wouldn't have worked. So this is the only way. And then comes the third line, Suratha Samadhi Samana Samadhi 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 Sujata Rate. So there's a repetition of the name Samadhi, 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 the word Samadhi. So here there is a reference to Devi Bhagavatam, Devi Mahatmyam. In Devi Mahatmyam, the story of Devi Mahatmyam goes with these two characters. One is called Suratha, the other is called Samadhi. And Devi Mahatmyam, the story kind of begins with them, where these two people have a problem in their life and they go to a rishi called Rishi Medhas. Rishi Medhas. They go to this rishi to seek some kind of relief because they have some problems. We'll talk about what problems they were into. But they go to this Rishi Medhas, and then this Rishi teaches them Devi Mahatmyam. He teaches them all the glories of Devi. And at the end, we'll see what they get. Okay. So who's Suratha and Samadhi? Suratha was a king. One story says he was a king of Kalinga Desha. And he was defeated in a battle. He got defeated in a battle, and that is because his own ministers and his own royal family cheated on him. They cheated on him, and because of that, he lost the battle and he had to escape and run away. So he ran away into the forest. And when he ran, he was completely dejected and disappointed with the way his family treated him, and he was worried about all the glory that he had built would all be squandered away. The wealth that he had created, all the legacy that has come from his forefathers of the Chedi dynasty, all that came. He was worried that all of that will be squandered away and the kingdom will be lost. And he kept worrying about it. And with that worry, he went into the forest. On the other hand, there is this person called Samadhi, who was a merchant, and he was running a business. He was he was a merchant and he was doing his business and everything was going well. But his wife and his sons, they plotted against him. They plotted against him and they took away all his wealth, and he was thrown out of the house. And he had to look for an asylum. So he was thrown out and he was worried and he was completely dejected and disappointed. And he also went into the forest, figuring out what to do, wondering what to do. So this Samadhi was, even though he was thrown out by the family, he still kept worrying about the family because of his attachment. So both of them, they are they've come because of the dejections and disappointments they've had in life, and they come somewhere they meet into the forest, somewhere they meet each other, and they share their stories, and they keep moving along, and they find the hermitage of a rishi called Rishi Medhas, and they go to this hermitage. And at this hermitage, they sit, and then they go and pour out all their heart to this rishi. And they say that, so Suratha says that, I'm completely broke. I have nothing now. Those who I trusted all my life, they were the ones who backstabbed me, and everything is gone. I'm not worried so much about what happened to me or what happens to me. I'm worried about the whole kingdom that was set up, the people, the subjects, what will they go through when it is not governed properly, when the wealth is all squandered away. And so he is worried about that. And then Samadhi says, I also got kicked out, and whatever I went through this, and then I'm not so worried about myself, but I'm worried about what will happen to my sons. And why? Because they don't know. Although they think they want all the wealth and they took it away, they wouldn't know how to live with it. They don't know what to do. They don't know the ways of the world. So I'm worried about them, worried for them. Right? And then the Rishi says, now I'll tell you the story of Devi. So then he narrates the whole Devi Mahatmyam. There are about 700 verses in Chandi Patha. It's also called as Durga Saptashati. Saptashati is 700. Durga Saptashati. Like how Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Saptashati. There is a Krishna Saptashati, which is Bhagavad Gita. There are 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. Devi Mahatmyam has 700 verses. So she goes and he goes and narrates the whole thing. And after that, they spend 3 years with the Rishi in the ashram. And Devi appears to them. They spend 3 years and they do the Chandi Patha continuously. They're spending time with it. They're meditating upon it. They're chanting Devi's names. They're absorbed in her devotion and worship. And after 3 years, Devi appears to them. And Devi asks, what do you want? Now, interesting, what has happened to each one is very different. The same Medhas, Rishi Medhas, the same teacher, the same guru, has taught the same content, which is Devi Mahatmyam, which has whatever it has is the same thing that has been taught and spoken to both of them. But what Suratha asks Devi is that, oh mother, I would like you to help me revive my kingdom back, get my wealth back. I'd like my ministers and people who did this to me apologize and return to me. So Devi says, Tathastu. So he gets that. Samadhi, on the other hand, through the whole process of 3 years, his whole mind changes, his emotions, his perspective, everything changes. And he says, oh mother, all I want is liberation. I want moksha. I don't want anything else. And then Devi says, Tathastu. So this is the story about Suratha and Samadhi. Now, there are a few things here in the story. One is Suratha. So this is a story which is absolutely symbolism, right? The symbolism here is Suratha is the physical body. Suratha. Ratha is represented as the chariot or the body that has been maintained and kept well. And if you want to look at the Ratha along with the mind, so it's the body-mind complex. Samadhi is a contemplative mind. Samadhi. Samadhi is Samadhi. Equanimous mind. That is Samadhi. So when you spend a lot of time with Suratha, which means as if you are Suratha and your focus is on the body and mind all the time, even though you are worshipping Devi, you will only end up asking that which satisfies your body and mind. On the other hand, if you are if you are of contemplative mind, you are meditative, samadhi, you're finding joy in samadhi or in contemplation and meditation, then as you practice more and more the same Devi Bhagavat Mahatmyam, the same worship of the Devi, when your mind is established in that or mind is inclined towards samadhi, then slowly mumukshutvam rises in you. Moksham ichhati. The ichha for moksha rises, and when Devi or divinity comes in front of you, that is the only thing you will know to ask. You'll not feel like asking. Samadhi did not feel like asking, I want my family to accept me. I want my wife and my sons to now feel apologetic for what they've done. I want to get back with them and live a happy life with them. He didn't ask that. Because his aspiration and um, his disposition was towards a contemplative mind. Disposition means he was inclined towards a contemplative mind. Whereas Suratha was disposition towards improving the physical, which is the body and the mind. Now both were using the same tool, which was Devi Mahatmya, but both got different results. Whatever they sought, they got. Right? What you seek is what you will get. The problem is when we get something, we don't know that is what we were seeking. So there seems to be a mismatch. Somewhere within us, we know this is what I am seeking. And when that appears in front of us through persistence, through prayer, through worship, when I seek something and it is presented to me, I may not be saying those words, but my intention. So which is why it's very important to continuously read and study and understand our intentions. What is my core intention? At the core, what is it that I want? I may speak things on the outside. Oh, I don't want anything. எனக்கு மோட்சம் தான் வேணும். எனக்கு பகவத் பாதம் தான். I just want to be at the feet of the Lord. All of these things we can speak in the outside. But the Antaratma, the Antaryami who's there inside, he knows really what are you looking for. What is it that you really want? Are you able to vanquish the 1,000 enemies? Are you able to kill this Tarakasura and be of Samadhi, meditative mind? If you are able to do that, so look at this, you are vanquishing the Asuras. That means you're clearing of all the obstacles. You're killing the Tarakasura also. And then even after that, you can still be either material or entirely spiritual. So, which is what we discussed the other day also. Somebody who's also looking for material wealth, also looking for material prosperity, takes the same struggle, stresses, sadhana, perseverance, does all of that as much as a sadhaka does or a spiritual aspirant does. The only difference between the two is the intention. Yes, Amma.
கடைசியில பரஸ்வதி சொல்றா, என்னதான் இருந்தாலும் அம்பாள் டைரக்டா அவருக்கு கொடுத்ததுனால தேவி மகாத்மியத்துல என்ன ராஜாவா இருந்து எல்லாம் பண்ணாலும் ஃபைனலி ரீச்சஸ் தேவி. அதே பரஸ்வதி கொடுக்குறா, கேட்டதை கொடுக்கறா, பட் மோட்சமும் கொடுத்துடுறா கடைசியில. ஏன்னா அவர் தேவி மகாத்மியம் கேட்டதுனாலையும் படிச்சதுனாலையும் அந்த பலஸ்ருதியில அந்த மாதிரி வருது. மோட்சத்தையும் கொடுக்குறா தேவி.
So the idea is you So which is what she is called Bhoga Moksha Dayini. So she also gives Bhoga and she gives Moksha. There is a Nama in Lalita Sahasranama. Swarga Apavarga Dayinyai Namaha. Swarga Apavarga Dayinyai. Swarga is material wealth. Apavarga is moksha. Right? Now, somebody like a Suratha, like Amma is saying, after he has acquired all the wealth, at the end he gets moksha. Now, the point is, where are we in that journey? How important and significant is moksha for us now is a question for us to figure out. Because even though he gets moksha, we don't know, the Devi Bhagavatam or the Mahatmyam doesn't say when he gets it. At the end he gets it means what? It can be that at the end he gets it means it could be after several lifetimes also. Because when you get back to your life of transactional life and transactional living with the intention that I want my kingdom back, I want to rule again, I want to do good for my people, I want my people to accept me, you're again going back into the cycle of samsara, one way or the other. Now, you may be a very sattvic person in the samsara cycle, but you're still in the cycle of samsara. How much ever one is sattvic, it doesn't necessarily lead you to moksha unless you desire moksha as the purushartha. If that desire for moksha or liberation or freedom from this is not actively pursued by you, it is not something that will come to you, or it will not be received by you. We will keep going on in circles. Eventually we will get it at some point in time. Now, if we have the patience for that much amount of time, so be it. So we will go through the whole cycle, just churn, right? It's like saying, are you tired of it? Have you found that porum, that enough, that feeling of enough? Does it really come from the core? It comes from the core as that is enough, which is what happened to samadhi. The reason samadhi asked for moksha and Suratha did not ask for moksha is somewhere in samadhi's, the merchant samadhi's mind, that has risen in him. The mumukshutvam has risen, where he has realized that what is the point in going back? What if I go back now? Maybe I'll spend a little time, better time, quality time with my family. I'll do this, that, and the other. Again, I'll be caught in that chakkar. And when I'm caught there is a great risk of me falling also. That risk is there, right? It is like playing with fire. Say, yeah, I can play. You see, there are people who do these dances here in UAE. There are these shows that happen, fire shows, and maybe I remember in Singapore also there are some shows that happen where they actually blow petroleum, kerosene or petrol and all that, and they blow it on fire. So the fire kind of explodes like that. Those are very risky and dangerous things. Can you do it? Yes, of course you can do it. But what, you have the risk of burning your mouth, you're burning up parts of your body. It's a risky thing. Do you want to get into that risky thing and then put yourself through that process? That is something for an individual to think for, right? But Devi is saying, or through the whole, even in this work, Suratha samadhi samana samadhi 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 sujata rate. You look at which word is repeated most of the time here. It is samadhi. So the focus is on samadhi. So the composer is also saying samadhi, the meditative mind, the contemplative mind, the samadhi of samadhi. Samadhi person, the merchant samadhi, his samadhi gave him the state of samadhi. So samadhi is intention of samadhi gave him samadhi. Samadhi, 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 sujatarate. It gave him that ultimate bliss and joy. Because that is the only thing that he desired. Right? And this, remember, it is very important for us to again contemplate and introspect for our own sake, to say that what is most important for me. There are things that are happening in my life. I can keep asking this, that, I will get all of that. I will spend a lot of time in seeking a great deal of wealth, prosperity, name, fame, progeny, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is still a cycle. It is still a cycle. Like we say, Lalita Tripura Sundari is happily playing this game. Lalita, her name is Lalita because she is the playful one. She loves to keep playing this game. She will keep playing this game. Because when we get what we want, it feels joyful. But when we don't and we are put through troubles, that is when we call out. And when things are a little okay, and then again we want more of that joy and fun. And when we recognize within our heart and soul, there is this feeling that I've gone through this cycle again and again and again, enough number of times, the roller coaster. So somewhere this is risen in this merchant samadhi. And then he asks only for moksha. Right? So this verse is essentially for us to recognize there are two ways to go about it in life. You choose. Eventually, remember, all souls or all atmas will eventually go into that. It's like all rivers will eventually go into the sea. All streams will go into the river and river will go into the sea. If there is an urgency within us, then there is a need to go into the sea and the ocean quickly. If not, you will take your own sweet time. You don't have to do any of this. None of this is required at all. But there is something burning inside, right? It's not just, I want a better house, I want a better place, I want a better husband, I want a better wife. That is not what we are desiring here. When we are into understanding deeper truths about what life is, if our mind is still going to keep moving around, the next prayer I'm going to do, the next worship is for this, then it keeps revolving in that. The idea is not about worship is not wrong. Being a Suratha is not wrong. Suratha is also important. Suratha is a good body and a good mind. You need that. Suratha, this Ratha that you are, this chariot which is of body and mind, needs to be right, needs to be good. We need to do the right kind of, if you do physical exercise, we need to do mental exercise and make sure it's hale and healthy. I know of one very old man, every morning, 80, 85, I don't know whether my mother told me or somebody told, he would get up in the morning, 15 minutes, he will do mental math. Not for anybody. There's nobody listening to him. But Chuma, he'll sit, he'll say, okay, 4 plus 5, 9, 9 times 3, 27, 27 plus 6, 33. He'll just do mental math. So this, for what? Just to keep his mind healthy. So the mind remains alert and sharp because mind is the only tool you have, even to go into samadhi. So this is very important. We ask that to Devi. So it is like this, oh mother, give me a healthy body and a healthy mind, so that I can direct and take myself into samadhi. The intention, the end intention has to be clear. And everything can happen around, everything can happen as long as this intention is very clear, established. So it is important for us to be like samadhi, somebody who's seeking this truth and understanding and being in the state of complete identification with the truth, disidentification with everything else, but identification with the truth. Being in that, but also saying that, yes, I would want what Suratha has, so that my samadhi process will not get hampered. Right? So this is the verse that she's saying, that Vijita Sahasra Karaika Sahasra Karaika Sahasra Karaika Nute. So 3 times 1,000. So she says that thousands of hands, you're destroying thousands of, vanquishing thousands of asuras, and the attitude of surrender is also there. So when you're vanquishing these, they surrender to you, which means you become the master of those thousands of asuras. Asuras are what? Essentially all these things that are within us, the various undesirables that are within us are the asuras. So those surrender to you. When you invoke the Devi, invoke Mother, invoke divinity, invoke Krishna, invoke Narayana, invoke Shiva, you invoke Muruga, Ganapati, invoke them. When you invoke them, know that they're destroying and they're clearing off. Know that for truth. Not somebody doesn't have to come and tell you. You know for sure, yes, when I'm chanting this, it is getting cleared. And it will get cleared. This is how magic works. Magic does not work because somebody has some extra power than you. Magic works when you know in your mind and heart, you believe in something so strongly, and it manifests because it has to, then it appears like magic for somebody else. So be somebody who manifests magic in your life all the time. When somebody is seeing you, how is this happening in your life? உனக்கு மட்டும் எப்படி இப்படி நடக்கிறது? உனக்கு மட்டும் எப்படி நிம்மதியா இருக்க முடியாது? Let people feel jealous about you. That's okay. You form your cocoon, form your energy circle and be in it. But within it, don't suffer, don't struggle. Within it, find this. Find what? Then, so once outside you have cleared everything, Sahasra Karaika. So outside you have done this, then you're inside, within you, then don't suffer and struggle also. Which is Taraka. Sura, Kritasura Taraka, Sangara Taraka, Sunusute. So within you also, kill that struggle, destroy that suffering within you. Again, when you're invoking Devi, invoke that Devi to destroy external factors that are obstacles in your life, and internal factors that are obstacles. And also secret obstacles. Usually when we pray, there are 3 kinds of obstacles we pray for. Generally, we know the tapatraya, adi bhautika, adi adhyatmika, adi daivika. So the 3 kinds of obstacles we pray, that has to be calmed down. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. But here we are saying 3 kinds of obstacles: external obstacles, internal obstacles, and unknown obstacles also. Things that I may not know of, where it comes from. Some janma, some karma, some this thing, from somewhere it may come. So you clear that. And then Suratha samadhi samadhi suratha samadhi samana samadhi 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 sujata rate. And then you've done this, make sure you have a clear intention that is laid out for you. What do you want to be, a suratha only, or you want to be a samadhi? So once we establish that, then Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramya Kapardini Shaila Sute. Then you experience this joy. Kapardini, Ramya Kapardini, beautiful hair. Also imagine Devi when she is dancing, opening Talaviricha Adran Cholwala. There are two times when you say that somebody is open their hair and dancing. One, they're really joyful, and the other is when they're really wrathful. Right? But here we are talking about that joy. She is in that joy. Ramya Kapardini, this joyful, beautiful, blissful state of Devi. So this verse is, as we said at the start, three things that are happening. One is you cleanse off the asuras, and then there is specific Tarakasura, which is the ego in us, and then you take the path of Suratha or Samadhi. Right? And here the stress is made on Samadhi. So focus on Samadhi. Make that as your Purushartha. Then Suratha will also be added unto you. Create this very strong intention. Hold on to that intention. Let that not get shaken. So with that, we pause today. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyirva Buddhyatmana Va Prakrite Svabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Satgurunathayeti Samarpayami Hari Om Tat Sat Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurudeva. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.